Good morning, Audi S3 Fanatics. It's Peter, your Audi S3 Fanatic. We are coming at you from Southern California with another DIY. Now, this has been a request by several of my subscribers. What they have asked me to do is take a look at showing them how to install a dash cam into the S3. So after some research, I finally decided that I'm going to go ahead and install a Blackvue DR900S. It's one of the few, if not the only, 4K dash cam that you can install in this car. So I went ahead and purchased a 2-channel so we can have 4K in the front, and then in the very back it's going to be 1080p. Now, this video isn't per se going to be a specific complete review on the dash cam. There's plenty of them out there on YouTube, but I'm just going to really show you guys how to successfully install it in the S3 so that you can have some great footage. Now, this should also apply to many other Audis as well. Now, in addition to the installation of the DR900S, I reached out to Blackvue, and believe it or not, and I'm super excited and so grateful, they were kind enough to send me their newest backup battery, which is going to be called, and I've got it right here, so again, super excited to install it. This is, again, their newest version. It is called the Power Magic Ultra Battery B124x. Now, this is designed specifically to help your car be placed into parking mode for the dash cam, so that way you're not eating up the battery power of the car and coming to a car that's completely dead. So again, very excited to install this. I'll go ahead and just read off some technical aspects of the battery pack so that you have an idea of what it is. It's going to be a 6,000 milliamp per hour battery on a 1-channel DR900S. This should power your unit for 21 hours and 53 minutes. Since I am running a 2-channel, that's going to be reduced down to 16 hours and 42 minutes. You have 2 methods of installing it. You can do a cigarette lighter, which is going to take roughly 80 minutes to fully charge the battery. The way that I'm going to do it is the other method, which is going to be a hard wire directly into the car's fuse panel. And that, believe it or not, is only 40 minutes. So it charges up very quickly. With this one here, you can also link several of them to have extended parking mode time, so you can do 2, even 3 if you wanted to, and they're super easy to link up. With this X version, it has the newer 5-volt 2-amp USB output. So while your car is actually in parking mode, you can even charge something up. Now, I don't know how much that eats into your battery, but let's just say you're trying to charge a cell phone. It's probably not going to eat up too much power. Now, I love this feature because you guys know I do a lot of other automotive videos. So when my car is off and I have drained some of my action camera batteries, I can actually charge right in here and power up my batteries or charge them up while I'm doing other things, and the car doesn't even have to be on. So huge additional feature. So those are going to be just very basic technical aspects. Again, I'm not going to go into a full review because I'm just not that technically savvy to discuss everything about the battery. More or less, it's just to really show you guys how to incorporate it into your dash cam install. The unit itself, super easy to install. We'll go ahead and do that shortly. Now, I will go ahead and kind of break down the installation process ahead of time so you know what we're going to go ahead and do. the very first thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to tear apart several panels of the S3. Pretty much I'm going to install it on the left side since it's a US based left-hand driving car. We're going to remove the panels that encompass the driver's lower panel. You've got to remove the door sill panels from the front and the rear, and you're also going to have to remove the I believe it's called the A pillar or B pillar, something like that, panel inside the car so that you can route all the wiring. And then finally, that is going to go up to the rear windshield. So that's kind of the first step that you're going to have to do. The next step after that is obviously you're going to have to route all the cabling, and before you fully stick it in, you want to go ahead and test the dash cam to make sure that it works. So once we've got everything powered up, made sure that it works very well, we'll go ahead and securely mount this B124x battery underneath the driver's seat. I have some industrial strength Velcro that I'm just going to attach to the battery that should securely mount to the floor of the vehicle. And once that's done, we'll kind of tidy everything together, make sure it works all fine, and then we'll finalize it by putting all of the panels back in. So that's kind of, in short, how we're going to install it in the S3. So, sorry guys, I should have included an unveiling of the items so you can see what we're actually going to install. So this is going to be the DR900S dash cam. We are going to have the front mount. We also have the rear mount, and they include just a ton of other stuff with this. And let me carefully try to take this stuff out. Packaging on the Blackvue is just ridiculously good. You've got the connection cable from the front to the rear camera, a bunch of mounting stuff, which is awesome. And I cannot believe Blackvue even gives you a little trim so that you can kind of tuck your wires underneath. And then of course you've got your cigarette lighter. Now for the B124X, this is the battery pack itself, and man, this thing is built solid. Very, very, very solid stuff. With the accessories, they give you, it looks like they give you a cigarette lighter adapter. They also give you a hardwire kit here, and a bunch of fuses, as well as, wow, actually not just some fuses. They've got very specialized fuses in here that actually allow you to tap in and then connect to the end of it. Hopefully you guys can see, but it's just so well designed, so I'm very impressed. So without further ado guys, again, sorry for the delay. Let's go ahead and get started on the install. Okay guys, so the first step that you have to do is we have to remove a bunch of panels, as I had mentioned. With this here, the first thing, you're going to remove this one here. There's a little slot that you can put a screwdriver to pop it off. There are a few clips here that attach to the body of the car. Once that one is off, there's a side piece here you want to remove. So that one comes off, and I'm going to step away. Now, this sill here, you're going to have to remove, and that goes about toward the end of the seat. You'll remove that one. That one will allow you to remove this panel. That will remove essentially all of the front panels here. And to access the lower underneath the seat area, you obviously want to remove your seat as high as possible, pull it all the way back, and that maximizes the amount of room that you have to work underneath your seat. So now that we're in the very back, and this part is only if you're going to do the rear camera install. But I highly recommend that you guys do it. What's the point in installing your front and not being covered in the very back? But once you have the front driver's sill open or removed, that allows you to kind of remove this A-pillars panel right here. So that will come off. That will allow you to remove this rear driver's side panel here. Now, once you've got it done, and it goes all the way up to the very top here, you'll finally have to remove the windowsill panel over here. Now, the best way to remove all these panels, and I have done it before, is obviously you want to have some type of trim remover. I'll show you here. You can actually get underneath the panel by just pulling back on some of the weather stripping. Sticking a prying tool and just prying out, or you can just use your fingers and pull up. You'll hear a lot of popping, and that is normal because you've got little clips that are connected to the panel. Just take your time. Don't be completely forceful where you're just totally ripping it off, but you know, kind of pop it off. It will come off, and if you're having a little trouble, just use the leverage of your little prying tool to kind of pop up, but they will pop up. So we're going to slowly start removing the panels, and I went ahead and did this one here so I can show you guys how it essentially looks. Again, you'll pop your tool here, you'll pop these ones off, and you can see they're metal. So we'll take that one. This one will come off quite easily. And again, you're hearing these pops because of just the clips, but just be careful, you won't break anything unless you forcefully remove it. Now those two panels are off. We need to get the door sill off, and the best way to do it is you're essentially going to have to put your prying tool underneath here and just kind of clip away. Alright, so this sill piece here is removed to a certain extent. That allows me to remove this one. Now there is, and let me show you guys real quick here. Here is the hood release mechanism, and as I had mentioned, there is the end of the latch will go into a little groove, and then there's a little clip that goes like such, and you have to pull that clip out, and then this latch will come out. So I went ahead and removed that there, and you will need a it's going to be a T25 to remove one bolt from here. Just take it nice and easy. That is off. So now we have very good access to where we're going to route the cabling. The other thing you'll need to remove is you'll need to remove this little door here from the panel here, and that allows you access right into the fuse box so that you can see, as opposed to coming from it from this side here. So again, definitely remove that. Alright guys, so I'm going to show you how to wire the front camera. I have already installed the front camera over here, and hopefully the camera will show, but this whole area here is very large, so you can actually run two cables through here without an issue. And I feel just a little bit of the cable, and I want to push it back a little more. But where you're going to run into trouble is running it into the headliner. and hiding it behind the A pillar. I believe this is what it's called. And obviously you don't want to pull this apart, and you do want to be very careful because you have your airbag right here. So all I've done at this point, I did one line at a time. Running two channels is obviously going to be a little more difficult, but all I did at this point here is I just opened this up a little bit, and you're just going to essentially push the wiring in. The second wiring is going to be a little more difficult because I already have this one here, so I've taken up that much space, and I just have a little more space. So I'll go ahead and kind of tuck this one underneath here, and then we'll run it down the weather stripping side of the panel. Alright, so now I will show you guys how to get the wiring underneath here. Again, there's quite a bit of space, and I've got a larger prying tool that all I did was I put it in here like such. I opened it up, and at that point it just goes right behind the weather stripping and into the panel. Do it nice and neatly here like such, and then all you do is you just kind of work your way down. So we'll go ahead and complete this, and at that point it will be exposed here, and we can essentially run it down. This is going to be the rear wiring install, and I've got the camera set up right so that you can see this area here. This is probably going to be the most difficult part of the rear camera's wiring. Over here, I've got the camera installed, and I put it pretty much dead in. On the edge here, there is quite a bit of room for you to essentially run your wiring through. And all I did, I ran to the edge. Now there is enough space that I used Blackvue's prying tool here, and it actually did an amazing job where all I did was I opened it up just a little bit to where I can push the wiring through. So that part was pretty easy. And then once I got to this part, this is actually the headliner portion, and this component panel here was very tough. But as you can see, you can open it enough just to put your wiring through. So I've got it up to this point here, and I'll just kind of show you guys what I did at that point. Just gently kind of push it in, or if you want to, you can pry it to get it in. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and get this all the way here, and then I'm essentially going to route it down to the weather stripping side. I opened it and I saw enough room. Hopefully you guys can see how it actually comes out a little bit, where you can route it all the way down. So I've got the cabling routed through here, and I wanted to just show you guys how to really do it. If you pull back the weather stripping, you'll see there's quite a bit of room to slowly just kind of tuck your wiring underneath, just like such. Again, it's a little tedious of a process, but you cannot tell I've done anything at all. It's very stealth. So just kind of keep on working your way. Just kind of open up the weather stripping a little bit, and just use your finger and push into the wiring just like such. So that's gonna how you run the cabling through here. So we almost have it in the very bottom. Once we have it in the very bottom, it's a cakewalk at that point because it's just through all the panels. Alright, so you guys can see that I have started to run the cabling from the rear camera up through the driver's sill here, and all I did to secure the line is I used several zip ties just to make sure there's no kinks or anything like that at all. So you just essentially run it right through here like that. So the next step in installing the B124X is you have to find the accessory switch or power that is located in your fuse box. So essentially what I did was I went ahead and used a voltage meter to determine which of my fuses is going to be on in the accessory position. I took out my owner's manual for my car, and I did find one that will work. Now, taking a look at page 249 on the owner's manual and kind of probing around, I found that fuse F40, which is listed in my car, actually provides power when the vehicle is on. So Blackvue's B124 includes several of these that have different fuse sizes. I just used the appropriate one, and the way that it works is this end is going to go into the fuse box. You'll take the original fuse, which I already took out, and it's going to go just like such into one of these areas here. And then this section will plug into the fuse. This end, as you can tell, Blackvue has done a great job already of buttoning this up again. This end here is going to connect to the accessory line of the power line that goes to the B124 battery pack. So I'll go ahead and put this in, connect this in, and if you could take a look where my finger is, the other end of the power line to the B124 is ground. That's going to be very crucial for you guys to find a good grounding point. So we've got grounding point, power. We'll go ahead and connect it, and we'll do our final test of the dash cam setup before we neatly put everything underneath the seat, and that will be the next step. Alright guys, so we have went ahead and installed the B124X, and I did go ahead and do a test run on it. What we did here is I ran the cabling through and underneath the carpet. We installed it on the DC side, which is going to be hardwired into the car. Now there's going to be a switch here that gives you the option to charge it via cigarette or hardwire. We're going to flip that switch over to hardwire, and from here you'll see the lights turn on. One of them is going to be charged, and there's one that's going to be for Bluetooth that you can connect to your phone to monitor the battery. Now the next thing that you want to plug in is going to be the power that goes to the camera, and this is it right here. And then this here is obviously going to be your expansion. So the final piece here is going to be the US port where you can actually charge something else. So what we'll go ahead and do from here is I am actually going to kind of neatly pull everything through and underneath the carpet so that everything is nice and tucked away in the sill here, and we'll go ahead and do some more footage and let you guys see how I installed all the extra cabling. Okay guys, so I went ahead and finished the install, and what I did here, as you'll see, is I included or installed a couple of very strong industrial strength Velcro to the back of it, so once I put it here, it's going to stay. Now Blackvue did provide a couple of them. They're a little smaller, and I am just a little over the top with it. So let's go ahead and just peel this back here. And we'll go ahead and just neatly put it right in the corner, just like such, and press it down. And as you can tell, this is not going anywhere. Now I did go ahead and install it. Keep in mind you want to keep it to hardwire for the switch here. I went ahead and zip tied both of the wires together on this end as well as this end so it doesn't flop everywhere. And if you guys can take a look over here, I took all of the excess cable and I just zip tied it together so it is neatly in place. So that is going to be my final install location for it. And as you can tell, again, it's very solid. Now there's a lot of space because my seat is high, and I'm going to go ahead and lower it down to where I normally drive, and you will see the space becomes very minimal. All right, no obstructions at all, completely out of the way. And there you have it, guys. That is going to be the install of the B124X. Very discreet, completely out of the way, plenty of power. And make sure, if you want the best use of it, you hardwire it into the vehicle, and Blackvue just makes it so easy for you guys to do that. As usual, guys, I wanted to go ahead and share with you just some final comments regarding the installation of the Blackvue DR900S, as well as their accompanying B124x battery pack. Overall, the installation, it is not too challenging to do. You do need to have a little patience and some finger strength to kind of get those wires up and into some of those crevices of the overhead console and down into the weather stripping to hide that wire as best as you can. But once you have that completed, the installation job is very easy at that point. Again, you're really just installing the front camera, the rear camera, running the wires, and setting up the B124X into the system. Now, I will tell you, that product in itself, Blackvue made it so easy for you to install. Even though they provided me that battery to test and review, I'm still going to give you guys my honest opinion. Now, in truth, I just installed it. I can't tell you how great it is, but I can tell you for the installation itself, very simple to do. There's just literally 2 wires for you to connect, which is going to be the fuse to the fuse panel if you want to do the hard wiring, and then the ground. Now, if you want to make that even more simplified, you can use the cigarette lighter. But again, I prefer the hard wiring because it makes charging so much faster for that battery pack. Then the other thing that I really like about it is you can actually charge a secondary item through their USB powered connection. So again, for me, I'm out on the field, I do a lot of video and shooting, and I can't always have my car on. So I can simply plug it in to the USB port that is included in the battery and have some of my batteries charge for my action cameras. So definitely a nice touch to have. If you guys have any questions or comments on the installation, feel free to go ahead and comment below, and I'll do my best to reply to you guys. As usual, I want to go ahead and thank you so much for supporting my channel. It's been a great process to install this Blackvue camera, front and rear, as well as their battery pack. To sign off, this is Peter, your Audi S3 Fanatic. Take care, my friends.